Friends of the Family, Episode 10, the final episode. Act 1, The Sanctuary of Faith. The quiet interior of the hidden crystalline cave on Planet Xylos remained completely still. Outside, the harsh dystopian crimson storms of the outer rim battered the jagged spires, but inside, the atmosphere had transformed into a solemn sanctuary of absolute devotion. It had been weeks since the boys had vanished into the industrial depths of the lower sectors. Chloe, Lily, and Zuri had completely ceased their frantic, dangerous searches through the hostile cybernetic plazas. They realized that their naive strength and their high-tech quantum wristwatches were entirely useless against the cold, unyielding machinery of the alien frontier. Instead, the three teenage girls chose to settle deeply into their quiet surroundings, letting go of their anxiety and completely surrendering their heavy burdens. Every morning and every evening, they knelt together on the smooth porcelain floor of the cave, linking their hands in a tight, unbroken circle of sisterhood. They poured their hearts out in continuous, earnest prayer to Jesus Christ, leaving the safety, protection, and ultimate return of Ethan, Jaxen, and Caleb entirely in his hands. They trusted that no matter how dark the immediate universe appeared, a higher power was watching over their broken family. Act 2, the final verdict. Meanwhile, deep within the subterranean core of the planet, the cold gears of alien justice had turned with absolute, crushing finality. Deep inside the heavily fortified, automated prison system, the three syndicate boys faced the ultimate consequence of their reckless rebellion. Surrounded by towering cyborg androids and glowing cybernetic wardens, Ethan, Jaxen, and Caleb stood before an unfeeling alien tribunal. Because they had bypassed secure cosmic energy lines and established an unauthorized syndicate territory, the planetary law enforcement showed absolutely no leniency. The final verdict was handed down through the cold, synthesized voice of the main defense mainframe. The boys were officially sentenced to life in prison within the deep, inescapable subterranean levels of Planet Xylos. Their quantum wristwatches were permanently melted down, their coordinates erased from the universal database, and the heavy blast doors of their isolated cells sealed shut forever. The syndicate had fallen completely off the deep end, trapped in the dark consequences of their choices. Act 3, the earthly time-lapse and the wedding. Back on Earth, millions of light-years away under the bright, electric, violet skies of New Metropolis, a completely different reality was unfolding. Sarah Harrington and Keziah had completely closed the database on their past. Having erased the decades of bitter resentment and hypocrisy that once divided them, the two women were now entirely focused on their profound, burgeoning romance. In their newfound bliss, they had completely moved forward with their own lives, not giving a single thought to the children who had fled into the cosmos weeks ago. A beautiful, rapid time-lapse began to unfold, chronicling the deep affection of the two lovers as they navigated the futuristic paradise. The camera captured them walking hand in hand down the glowing alabaster terraces, their fingers intertwined tightly. They shared soft, loving kisses on the cheeks and hands during quiet moments on floating garden balconies. The time-lapse pushed forward, showing them on multiple elegant dates throughout the central entertainment district. They shared laughter and deep conversations over glowing nutrient dinners, completely insulated in their own private world of joy. The time-lapse paused for a brilliant moment inside a highly exclusive, floating glass restaurant overlooking the high-speed energy tracks of the city. While they were sitting at their obsidian table enjoying a beautiful dinner, Sarah suddenly stood up, a look of pure devotion on her face. With total confidence, she dropped down onto one knee before the table, reaching into her elegant jacket to present a brilliant, shimmering quantum diamond ring to Keziah. Keziah's hands flew to her face, her eyes welling with tears of absolute happiness as she looked down at her partner. Instantly, the surrounding crowd of elite citizens broke into a warm round of clapping and enthusiastic cheering, filling the restaurant with a celebration of their love. The rapid time-lapse resumed, showing the two women joyfully entering high-tech bridal boutiques, laughing and giggling together as they picked out stunning, matching white silk outfits to wear for their special day. Finally, the time-lapse slowed to a gentle stop as the grand wedding ceremony commenced. The venue was a magnificent, crystalline chapel suspended in the upper atmosphere, illuminated by the breathtaking violet sunset. A polite, dignified pastor stood before them at the altar, holding a traditional scriptural database. The pastor looked at Sarah, his voice echoing warmly through the quiet chapel. Do you take this woman to be your lovely wedded wife? Sarah smiled through her tears, looking deeply into Keziah's eyes. I do. The pastor then turned to Keziah. And do you take this woman to be your lovely wedded wife? Keziah smiled back, her voice filled with absolute certainty. I do. I now pronounce you united in life, the pastor announced. Sarah and Keziah stepped forward and shared a deep, beautiful, loving kiss, sealing their covenant of total peace and unity forever. Holding hands tightly, their faces radiant with absolute joy, they turned to face the cheering guests and walked out of the venue together, stepping into a bright, romantic future completely unburdened by the past. And that was the absolute, total end of the Friends of the Family miniseries. Epilogue, the announcement. The screen slowly faded into a peaceful, starry blackness as the final orchestral notes of the score drifted away into the silence of space. Suddenly, the deep, resonant voice of the narrator echoed clearly through the audio speakers, delivering a crucial announcement directly to the audience listening to the podcast and reading the final pages of the story. Thank you for experiencing the emotional journey of these families. The narrator spoke with profound solemnity. The story of the cosmos is vast, and the journey does not end here. The next episode after this one is officially titled The Primordial Debate of Creation. Let it be known to all listeners and readers across the universe that the Primordial Debate of Creation Episode 1 is the 100% true, authentic, and official sequel to Friends of the Family, Episode 10, the final episode. To discover the ultimate destiny of the creation, the cosmic answers to the universe, and exactly what happens next in the timeline, search directly for the premiere of the official sequel series.